I wanted to talk a little bit about how much I cringed my voice and how critical I was of my accent. um, and I believe one of the reasons that I got into graduate school and ended up choosing racism as part of my thesis, not part as my thesis, was because I had to really decolonize my own view of how I whitewashed my accent, first of all. um, and I say this in a way where when I initially came to Canada, it was like 15 years ago. And when I came to the Canada, I thought, oh my gosh, like I love this accent, and so I really wanted to have like a Canadian accent. And it's like, and the environment that I was in, and this is something common, is that we always make these certain accents to be superior than others. And even, for example, British accent, which is like, oh my gosh, that's sexy. But then why isn't Indian accent, for example, considered sexy, right? It's all part of colonization. And so even when I was doing my work in racism, when Canada initially wanted immigrants, they didn't want immigrants from like India or Nepal, right? They wanted immigrants from UK. And so and because they kind of thought like UK as like a beautiful accent, and then because UK they have snow, so they can adapt better to weather conditions of Canada. And so there was this whole colonial aspect of how accent is viewed in certain ways even today. Right? And so I think I had to come to a place of accepting that I have an accent, and that's beautiful, because no accent is better than the other. It's all about how we express ourselves, how we communicate, how we make others understand like what we're saying. Like that's all about it. So accents don't matter at all. So I had to come to a place of accepting my accent and now loving my accent. Like I am not ashamed of my accent whatsoever. But I think it's pretty cute actually, and it's very interesting. My accent is not even Nepalese accent. Like Nepalese people have different accent than mine, and I'm just like, I don't know what happened. Like I have no idea. And so something happened in between these past 15 years, like I cannot explain, but my accent is like very different. Like people are like, are you like, somebody was like, are you Italian, or like, are you Spanish? Like people go into different places, but they never guess as a Nepalese accent, and that's like funny thing in itself. And the other thing that I had to really be comfortable with was my voice. My coach Liz, she knows how much I cringed my voice. There was this project in my school, or was it something, where I had to submit a video, and then I had to listen back my video because like to kind of like make sure it's okay. I freaking hated that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that voice is so cringe. Like I just could not even listen to myself. I hated my voice. But I really had to come to a place of within this past couple of years of accepting my voice as it is, and then I have a certain voice for a reason. And so I'm just like, I love my voice now. I'm just like, I have a beautiful voice. And other than that, from a spirituality context, I know my voice holds a frequency. My voice, especially my voice from my higher self, like which is like this very calm, like this voice of mine holds a frequency, and this holds a very high frequency, and it even activates people. Like I know that, And I know that because whenever like I am dysregulated and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, you know, if I need something to calm me to my place of like this regulated nervous system, like I listen to my own voice, meaning that I listen to like previous videos that I've made where I've talked about maybe like self-growth concepts or something like that, like from a very grounded, calm state, or even not, like I am regulated. Like I'm just like, oh, like she's saying a good thing, like, oh, that's good job. Like it's like I'm not even like thinking of that as like me. It's just like what this girl is saying is good, and it just regulates me. And then I hold a frequency in my voice. And so now, knowing what I know about myself, about my voice, my accent, however I am, my voice, I know that one of my sole purpose is that my voice is to be heard. That I know 1000%. And I knew that, but I just never came to a place of accepting like my voice as is. So I really had to come to a place of loving myself unconditionally, where I loved all parts of myself, including the voice that I cringe, the accent that I didn't like. And so I had to come to this place of like, I love myself anyway, and I love that about myself. And so it's like now I'm just like, I am my favorite person. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. Like that's how much I love myself. And it doesn't matter what other people say or do, because it's like when I love myself that way, what other people say does not matter. It doesn't matter because I love myself anyway. So I really had to come to this place of loving my voice, loving my accent, loving the times when I cannot seem to find the right word, and I'm just like, what's that word again? Like that's something like that, something that has like nails, like hand. Okay, yeah, that's hand. Like I also love that about myself. I think it's hilarious. I also love like sometimes when I cannot pronounce words. This morning when I was recording video, I noticed later that instead of saying debt, I said debt. And I'm just like, okay, like it's supposed to be debt. Like I said debt, and then just like it sounded like depth, D-E-P-T as depth. And I'm just like, okay, like that was supposed to be like depths, not depths. But I love that anyway. I'm just like, okay, that's hilarious, that's funny. And so now like I'm into that place of like loving like all parts of myself, including my voice and my accent. I will have to make another video about like loving my physical self as well. So that's also another story for another time, but just wanted to share this because I know that whether people like this in my social media or not, whether people comment about this or tell me about this or not, like it doesn't matter. I know this is relatable, and I believe that everything I post is relatable. Because I know like it is relatable to me, it means it is relatable to somebody else as well. And I have this desire to make this video because this is to be heard by people. And so I know that already, and I don't need external validation for me to like know that this is to exist. And so that's how self-assured I am at this point, like a little butterfly. Anyway, thank you for listening to my ranting.